So, brain and the complete mind. Now, in this book, well, I'm just going to talk about the interesting parts. Because I just thought, like, with these brain books, they're kind of all the same, like how it works. If you want to know how the brain works, prefrontal cortex. That's, for the majority of your questions, it's prefrontal cortex. All right, now that we got that out of the way, we might as well answer these questions right here. How it develops. So, it develops through neuroplasticity. That's what it's called. Or you can think of it as like the brain's own natural selection. Like it keeps the things that are useful, and like the synapses and neurons that aren't useful, they pretty much just wither away. Like for instance, the synapses for me using my left hand writing. I haven't been writing with my left hand recently, so those probably withered away. I'm probably not that good of a writer with my left hand as I was a few months ago. That's just how it is. So it develops through neuroplasticity again, basically on natural selection. Our brain can grow through anything. It can grow basically at all ages, as long as some basic needs are met, like nutritional needs, sleep needs, and I don't want to say well-being because you don't need to be well to learn something new. But those are the main things. Like, wow, if you don't eat any food, your brain will wither away, just like the synapses and neurons. So that's easily how it develops and how to keep it sharp. Keep it sharp by actually using it. Read a book for once. No, but seriously, there was a study done in people who read books that had higher brain activity, which may be good or may be a bad thing depending on what you see it as. But yeah, people who read books that had higher brain activity. So wow, I must have a good brain then, huh? I must have a good brain then. But yeah, keep it sharp by doing things like exercise. And that's again, I made a whole video on that called with Book Spark. That's something I truly believe, cause this is definitely something wonderful. Exercise is very useful, and it could be cardio or resistance training. But again, it's still good. And next, I just want to talk about again some fun facts from the book. And one is that 70% of our neuro no not neuro sorry 70% of our just our nervous system is on our brain, on the cerebral cortex to be exact, which is the neomammalian system or the neocortex. It basically has a lot of names, but the outside of our brain, pretty much 70% of our nervous system is on that. So I would say that's why the brain is important. Also important because we pretty much need it for everything. So that's just a cool little fact. And another fact is, wow, this is pretty much just a random video, but another fact is that if we actually don't use our brain, then we'll just start hallucinating. Like it'll do its own thing. So this happened with a study about people. I'm pretty sure they went into like a pool, but it was like a specific type of pool where pretty much you couldn't feel, couldn't hear, couldn't taste. All the modalities were not being used, and after 30 minutes, they all started hallucinating. I, that's definitely something cool, like how the brain is, again, with natural selection, like, it pretty much, I don't want to say evolved, because it didn't evolve, like, within a matter of minutes. Or it did, depending on, your perception of it, but the brain wants to do something, so do something. That's, use your modalities. Like, we don't have a brain. Like, I have all these abilities. Why wouldn't I use them, basically? So, that's another cool fact. And the last fact, I'm just going to talk about ADHD briefly. And people with ADHD, well, it's basically a neurological disorder, but their prefrontal cortex, specifically their orbital prefrontal cortex, and their nucleus accumbens, slightly less activated. Slightly less activated. Which means they don't think about the cause and effect as much. Like, they don't think about what could happen in the future as much. Or maybe they do. But their ability, like their perception may not be as well. And again, pretty much all of this is opinion, using the word well, but are good. So, but that's it. And the nucleus accumbens, basically it's harder for them to be happy, you could say. So that's why ADHD people, they either do nothing, because wow, they don't feel nothing, or they do a lot. I don't know if that's really how it is, but with some people that I've seen, that's pretty much it. Like, they just do nothing some days, and then other days, they're very extroverted. because they need a lot to feel good. So again, that's some pretty cool facts, I would say, at least in my opinion. Again, all this is pretty much my opinion, anyways. But brain and complete mind.